He was just trying to fix a broken engine. But unknowingly, he broke a chain. He saved a woman. He shook an empire. And in the end, he rewrote his own destiny. No one had ever given him a chance. But someone who grew up outside the system managed to change what was inside it. Welcome to Emotion Lines. Please don't forget to subscribe. The sky outside had collapsed onto the ground like a gray blanket, and the raindrops started tapping on the old tin roof like a melodyless song. Alex raised the collar of his worn-out jacket and opened the door to his workshop. With sleepy eyes, he glanced around. Rainwater from the night before had filled the road's curves, as if memorizing them. This morning was no different from the others. Cold, wet, and silent. Still, for Alex, each new day meant bringing a little more hope to his young son. The steam coming from the old but reliable coffee machine made the workshop feel like a warm shelter, if only for a moment. But when the doorbell rang, it shattered the calm, and Alex's heart skipped a beat. It wasn't common for customers to come at this hour. As he walked toward the door in his greasy coveralls, he couldn't believe his eyes. The woman standing in front of him, dressed in a light beige coat and boots that reached her knees, seemed completely out of place in these streets. Her hair was wet from the rain, yet still perfectly styled. There was a faint hint of panic in her eyes, but she kept her composure. "Hello. Excuse me, my car broke down just up the road," she said, her voice hurried but controlled. "I think it's something with the engine, and my phone isn't working. Can you help me?" Alex made eye contact with her. Someone dressed like that wouldn't normally end up on these streets, they'd be lost. But there was something different about her and urgency, eyes that seemed to be hiding something. "Sure," he said after a brief pause. He gestured for her to come inside. "Let's go take a look." They didn't speak much along the way. The woman's name was Emma. She didn't give a last name, and Alex didn't ask. When they spoke, Emma kept her sentences short. The car was stopped in a gravel space along the side of the road. It was a luxury vehicle, but something was clearly wrong. When they opened the hood, Alex immediately spotted the issue: a loose connection cable and nearly empty engine fluid. It wouldn't take long to fix, but it required careful handling. Alex got to work right away. Emma stayed a step behind. It was clear she was bothered by her shoes getting muddy, but she didn't say anything. As the rain slowed, Alex turned to her. "This will take some time. You can wait inside if you'd like," he said. Emma shook her head. "Thank you, but I'd rather stay here." While Alex worked, time seemed to stand still. The silence, combined with the slowing rhythm of the rain, created a strange sense of calm between them. Just as everything seemed done, Emma leaned forward slightly and murmured, "I don't think it's a coincidence that you're here this morning." Alex looked up. "What do you mean?" Emma gave a small smile, but didn't explain further. "Just, thank you," she said briefly. Alex extended his hand to give the engine one last check. "It's done. You're good to go. But make sure to check the fluid levels at the first gas station, okay?" Emma nodded, then pulled a card from her pocket. It was plain, matte, with nothing written on it. "Keep this," she said. "Call if you need to." Alex was stunned but took the card. Emma started the car, rolled down the window, and gave one last look. "Some debts are paid in silence. I hope you remember that one day." And then she was gone. Back at the workshop, Alex pulled the card from his pocket and looked at it again. There was no number, no name, just a fine, almost invisible embossed letter, E. In that moment, he knew that this morning wasn't just any ordinary day. He didn't know it yet, but tomorrow, his life would change completely. The next morning, as usual, Alex woke up early. He had made breakfast for his son, helped him put on his old school backpack, and then waved him off. As Noah turned to walk away, he took a few steps, then turned back and waved. "Don't be late today, Dad. Our teacher gave us the draw your family homework," he said, his eyes sparkling with joy. Alex still carried that look in his heart. But all that usual morning peace was shattered at 9:17 a.m. A motor sound was heard in front of the workshop, but it wasn't the type of sound an old truck would make. When Alex looked outside, he couldn't believe his eyes. A dark gray SUV was slowly gliding onto the asphalt. It was shiny, clean, and had a certain grandeur that definitely didn't belong on these streets. Before the vehicle even stopped, a man stepped out. His suit was perfectly pressed, his stance rigid. Then the door opened, and out stepped the woman who had needed help the day before, Emma. But this morning, she was entirely different. She wasn't wearing yesterday's simple coat, but a dark blue, elegant pantsuit. Her hair was pulled back, and her expression was serious yet peaceful. As she walked toward Alex, her gaze radiated a certain energy. The silence was once again dominant. The only sound was the echo of her heels on the wet stones, left behind by the rain. "Do you remember me?" Emma asked with a slight smile. Alex paused for a moment. "You're not someone who'd be forgotten," he said. "But how can I help you?" Emma turned back to the car and gestured. "Today, it's my turn to help," she said. Then, from the back seat, they pulled out a large box. The box barely fit inside the workshop. Alex was speechless when he saw what was inside. New toolkits, oil filter sets, motor maintenance devices. It looked like the dream of a professional repair shop. "This," Alex said, his throat tightening. "Why?" Emma lowered her head. "Your kindness yesterday was more than just a repair. It meant so much more to me. At that moment, I was going through one of the most complicated mornings of my life. And you helped without asking a single question. I just wanted to make your job easier." But then Emma's tone grew a little more serious. "There may be more. Your talent shouldn't go to waste. You should be working in bigger places, not in workshops, not on street corners." Alex shook his head. "I'm close to my son here. I grew up in this neighborhood. People know me. I don't leave anyone behind." Emma fell silent. Then she pulled out a second card from her pocket. This time, it had something written on it, Aurora Foundation. Below it, there was just a note, "Meeting at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Come, even if just to try." Alex took the card and looked at it. When he looked up, Emma was already in the car, ready to leave. But before she drove off, she rolled down the window and said one sentence. This sentence would spark something inside Alex. "Sometimes, when fate can't find you, it comes for you itself." And once again, there was that silence. But this time, it was a silence filled with hope. The next day at 2 p.m., Alex was still undecided. His shirt was unironed, one of his shoes was a little older than the other, and his hair was, as usual, battling the wind. But the card was still in his pocket. Aurora Foundation. A simple inscription, yet the meaning it carried was growing more significant by the minute. Noah's family drawing from this morning was still on the workshop desk. He had drawn 3 people, himself, Alex, and a woman. He hadn't asked her name, but the woman in the drawing had hair that resembled Emma's. Alex sighed. Then he looked in the mirror. "Even if it's just to try," he muttered to himself as he put on his coat and closed the door behind him. When he entered the address into the GPS, the building that appeared on the map seemed to belong to a world far outside his neighborhood. It was a modern, high-ceiling structure with a glass facade, resembling something out of the future. As he stepped inside, the receptionist immediately stood up. "Mr. Carter? They're expecting you," she said, guiding him toward the elevator. When the elevator doors opened, there was Emma. This time, she smiled at him, more formally but just as warmly. "Welcome, Alex," she said. "Let me show you something." They walked together into a large conference room. It was pristine, but what really caught Alex's attention were the visuals scrolling on the huge digital screen on the wall. Various aid projects, technical training in rural areas, support centers in impoverished communities. Emma raised her finger to the screen. "This is the Aurora Foundation. It may look like an outside charity, but we find talent and take it to where it belongs. And you, Alex, could be the first engineer of our new project." Alex swallowed. "But I'm not a trained engineer. I'm just a guy working in a workshop. I didn't even finish school. I had to drop out when I was a kid." Emma shook her head. "The chance the system didn't give you, we give. This project is exactly for people like you. And we've observed your mechanical intelligence, problem-solving ability, and leadership reflexes. They're more than just papers. You have insights about this world, and we want to use that." In the silence that followed, Alex felt as if his mind was a battlefield. On one side, years of habits. On the other, for the first time, the feeling of being seen. But the real question was, who was Emma? "And what about you?" he asked. "Why me? Why were you there on that road yesterday?" Emma leaned back slightly, then took a deep breath. "I have a company that's left to me," she said. "I'm not the owner, I am the heir. But I don't belong to the world that comes with it. I had to make a choice. That morning, I was actually running away. From a deal that conflicted with my values, from a pressure gnawing at me inside. And what stopped me was someone like you. Integrity. A kindness done silently but strongly. That's why we're here." They locked eyes. "I can open a door for you, Alex." but the one who steps inside is you. Alex lowered his head. Part of his heart beat for Noah, while another part whispered the dreams he'd suppressed for years. Maybe this time both could be possible. Emma handed him a folder. Inside was an offer for an entry-level project leadership position. The salary, benefits, and training were all clear. But the most striking detail was written at the bottom. Project location, selectable. Family compatibility is a priority. Alex closed the folder. He smiled. "I'm ready to start," he said. "But on one condition." Emma raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" Alex took a deep breath. "If I'm getting this second chance, others should too. Let's grow this project together." And so, that day, not just a job offer was accepted. A vision, a journey, began. The next morning, Alex woke up before dawn. He was sleepless, but not tired. There was a strange lightness in his heart, an unusual tension in his chest. For the first time in a long time, he had combed his hair and ironed his t-shirt. Noah, sensing his father's excitement, had left a note during breakfast. "You're our hero now." As Alex got on the bus, he briefly looked out the window. The route he'd always taken to the workshop was now heading in a different direction, and each turn was bringing him closer to the unknown. The Aurora Foundation's training campus felt like a technological oasis, far from the city. The entrance, with holographic panels welcoming him, wide green spaces, simulation laboratories. This world was unlike anything he had ever known. Alex felt lost, yet strangely, he felt like he belonged. When he entered the first classroom, a large sign on the wall read, "Talent doesn't come with a diploma, but it has a future." The class was filled with people of different ages. Most of them looked like him, faces that had lost their way in their careers, eyes that wanted to start over. But there was one person who stood out. He was a young man sitting in the corner, typing away quickly on his laptop. His hair was perfectly styled, his glasses looked expensive. His name was Leon, and even at their first meeting, it was as if he could read Alex's background just by looking at him. As soon as the first class was over, Leon walked up to him. "Looks like even mechanics are learning software now, huh? Wow, the system really is open to everyone," he said, trying to hide his condescension with a smile. Alex just nodded. He was used to it. But this time, he wouldn't stay silent. "It's not open for me," he said. "I kicked the door in." Leon raised his eyebrows, then smiled mockingly and walked away. But from that moment on, Alex made a decision. He wouldn't just learn here. He would fight to exist. The lessons progressed quickly. As Alex made connections between mechanics and algorithms, he realized that his passion for engineering, which he had carried inside for years, had never truly faded. Most of his teachers were surprised by his questions, and some of them were secretly taking notes. He wasn't just remembering the watches, bicycle gears, or truck engines he fixed as a child. Now, they were all taking on a new form, code. One late evening, while working alone in the campus garden, Emma approached him. She was wearing a simple trench coat and holding 2 coffees. "There's a lot of noise in the silence, Alex," she said. "Is this place working for you?" Alex lowered his head. "It's working, but it's not easy. Someone always reminds me of where I came from. In everyone's eyes, I'm still just a mechanic." Emma smiled. "Let that be. But now, be the mechanic who fixes the machines of the future. Sometimes, those who save the world are the ones most underestimated." Just then, Alex heard Leon's laughter from afar. There were a few people around him, clearly listening to him. In that moment, Alex asked for the first time, "Who is this kid? Why is he here?" Emma paused, took a sip of her coffee, and said, "Leon is the nephew of one of the founders of Aurora. He's very bright, but his biggest challenge isn't knowledge, it's humanity. In this project, everyone will learn something, not just you." And at that moment, Alex realized that this journey wasn't just about his own fate. It could be part of a change that could shake the very foundation of the system. Months had passed. The training program was almost halfway through. Alex was no longer just a listener. He had become a name that stood out. He was leading project teams, impressing even his instructors with his analysis of complex systems. He had once been a mechanic with hands stained in motor oil, but now he was a student giving presentations on AI-powered energy modules. But whenever he took a step forward, there was always someone following him like a shadow, Leon. Leon never directly confronted him. Instead, he used his intelligence to find ways to belittle Alex in every setting. In class, "Don't mix this up with coal engines," Alex, this is Aurora. Or in the lab. Impressive. Someone at this level gave the right answer. At first, these jabs were small enough to brush off with a laugh. But they piled up. Each time, they sank in a little deeper. Until the big presentation day. Aurora Foundation's mid-year competition required all participants to present their own micro-projects. The topic was open, but the criteria were clear: innovation, sustainability, societal impact. Alex had worked day and night. His project was a microsystem that could generate electricity in low-income areas by harnessing waste energy from old vehicle engines. The production cost was only a few $100s. I just wanted to bring electricity to Noah, he simply explained. When the presentation day arrived, the room was packed. The jury consisted of foundation executives, investors, and even some government representatives. As Alex presented, the room fell completely silent because everyone was listening. And finally, the applause was much stronger and longer than the others. But Leon had a different plan. During the one-on-one Q&A session after the presentation, he raised his hand. "Excuse me, judges, I just want to point out one small thing," Leon said. "Alex's project is impressive, yes, but the basic circuit design of this system is almost identical to an open-source MIT paper from last year. Would you consider that innovation?" The room went completely silent. Alex felt dizzy. His eyes met Leon's. Leon, however, just smiled and pulled back. The head judge turned to Alex. "Is this true? Is the basic circuit design quoted?" Alex cleared his throat. His hand was shaking, but his voice was steady. "Yes, I was inspired by that circuit design, but only inspired. I rearranged the circuit, worked with a different material set, and applied it to a completely new use. I didn't copy it. I took an old stone and laid it as the foundation of a new house." Silence again. Then the head judge nodded. "All right, that's what matters to us. But we will check." When the presentations ended, Alex was left alone. People were either talking to the jury or discussing the results among themselves. Leon, however, stood in the corner, staring at his phone with a failed smile. But inside, something had broken for Alex. It wasn't the accusation that crushed him. It was the fact that no one had contested it. Just then, Emma came up to him. "This system isn't for you, Alex," she said. "Today, you just passed a test. But tomorrow, you have the power to change them." That evening, when Alex returned home, Noah was already asleep. On the table was a drawing. It read, "My dad is fixing the sun." And in that moment, Alex understood. This battle wasn't just about code, technology, or the jury. It was about rooting yourself in places where you were never meant to belong. If this story has moved you, if you believe in unseen heroes, second chances, and silent revolutions, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share the video. Because sometimes, the greatest change starts from the heart of just one man.